It's one of the trucks. Is it a big truck in the shop?
Still in there, I'll talk about it.
I didn't see it.
Very much thought about it.
My dad was at the store.
They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I said they, I guess, I was talking to them.
Yeah, Vivi said, I didn't listen to the ammo. I wanted to hear what they
I
said.
thought maybe I'd get a call for trees.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Man, it was windy.
Well, I mean-
It really got windy.
Yeah.
So
I thought,
Every
I'm
year
sure
I
I'd
have
get
one
a,
too. Maybe it's mine.
I thought I'd get a call.
I think it's supposed to be windy tonight. So.
Right.
I'll get called.
I'll get a call.
Talking about how he created
Yeah.
it. That's what they-
They stuck that ass.
I know it's just a few minutes on.
That's get up by myself.
In May, when they're going to.
Gotta do
sheriff's
electric
department.
chainsaw.
It's pretty
Still haven't
quick.
tried it
I
out.
see it, but I got all night.
I won it at the,
Better
One
do
bank
it, but
thing.
just reset it out.
I'm getting ready to
Just
go buy
got
an
done.
electric leaf blower.
Yeah, I
I think it's next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we-
You know, they don't want to
I
run
seen
right
an
now.
email Friday.
We got electric
Yeah.
weed now,
Can't go down.
blower,
I can't go to
chainsaw.
the neighborhood.
I'm getting the blower for sure.
So I haven't really been-
We use it all the time.
Battery operated.
That would be the one to go to.
That's what that was, yeah.
Yeah, it's, we just check it out.
Except unseals the battery.
Bronze there,
It's
Friday.
Oh, is it
It's
there?
not.
I still got my little Shindal I bought at home.
My son-in-law works there.
Never worked on it. Maybe change the spark plug, but
So I
all
can-
Fame.
Yeah.
knock on wood.
It was-
It
He
won't
runs all the
start
sport.
when we use it this year.
That's what's like one of the first ones I got.
I'll be there.
You good, buddy? Let's do it. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending the Osnaburg Township Trustee meeting. We're going to start the meeting at 7:30 p.m. on April 25th. Would you stand for a pledge to the flag? Short vote. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we could gather in this place, Lord, and we're so thankful for some sun and some warmth. And Father, be with all of those employees here with the township, all the folks that make our township go, and especially be with those families for that tragedy here just a few days ago. So be with them. It's in your name. Amen.
That's a loud one.
Maybe. This one's on file. Important people have radios. All right. All right, do we have anything to add to the meeting agenda this evening?
I have two things. One is the books that we just passed out.
Yes.
And the second one is a sample letter from Plain, I think it's Plain Township on the opioid settlement.
Okay. New business, is that okay?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
new business.
I don't have any.
Mr. Piro?
No.
Nothing? Okay. I have an ad in addition to the zoning report. I'll explain that when we get there. I talked to a resident here. And I've got one addition for fire. Mr. Lauer, anything to add?
You know me, I'll add
To be announced. All right. Approval of the trustee meeting minutes from 4/11/22.
Trustee Peter moves to accept the minutes presented.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Alright.
Aye. All right. There you are. All right, approval of the 4/25/22 treasurer report.
Trustee Griffith motions to approve the treasurer's report for 4/25.
Trustee Peter, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you are. Sir? All right, wonderful. Okay, moving on to public speaks. Thank you all for being here this evening. Appreciate your time. We've got 5 folks on the list here, so we're going to go down here in order. If you don't mind, our microphones are actually quite good in this room, so we're going to be able to hear everything. But if you could stand up and stand semi-close to that mic and give us your first and last name and your address, just so we can document that, and then you can address the trustees. So we'll start with Heather.
All right, my name is Heather Nestor, and I'm over off of 1088 Holland Avenue, near Southeast here. We have been having some problems with people parking in the roadway, like literally directly at the end of our driveway. So I have a crew cab diesel pickup truck that I cannot go right or left, whether I try to come out forward or backwards. And people that live in the house, like a diagonal from us, are aggressive. They've come out, I've had fights with them. It's upsetting because I've never, in the years that my mom's lived at that address, this is Linda, in over 35 years, we've never had anyone ever do that to us. As soon as he brings it up here. It's a duplex, and you come out of our driveway, I'm gonna point to this here.
Oh, yeah, fine, go ahead.
Come out here, and then usually there's cars lined up anytime they have a gathering, and I mean, it's right on wit's end. We've had lots of calls to the sheriff's office, and their defense in that situation is they don't want to tell these people to move because there's no sign posted that there's no parking. However, the roadway is barely big enough really for cars to be able to pass by each other. I mean, unless everybody starts parking on each other's grass, you really can't get a car down the middle when somebody's parked out there. And
So the gathering that's happening is the parcel south of you on this picture?
Or
It's-
west.
this one.
Oh, okay, across the street.
Yes.
Okay,
These folks don't bother us. Nobody else does this, but usually this house and the house directly next to them.
gotcha.
It's been usually, and it's a dead end, so we can't go out, out of our driveway to the right. I was out there last June taking pictures, trying to come up with something because they're constantly leaving vehicles out there. And sometimes they've done it when their driveway's open. And for a while, I was trying to figure out, well, who owns these vehicles, who, associated with them. And it took me being home long enough to kind of figure it out. And I've asked people politely, like, hey, what's going on? But, they're saying, well, we're not moving for you. And I don't want to mess with
Are
it.
those rentals, Heather?
Huh?
Are those rentals?
Our place?
No, across the street.
No, not to my knowledge, no. And ours is, however, we live in one half and we rent the other. And the folks that live in the other half have been, since I graduated high school here in '03, the same residents have been here on our property since, even though this is obviously in this picture, my car, my trailers and different things.
Yeah.
Are there any parking signs at all posted on Holland on either side? Like, is there a no parking on one side or the other, or no parking signs?
No, there's no
Okay.
parking signs at all.
All right.
I've got pictures. I know I've spoken with Mr. Bureau numerous times about this. So Stu and Brian came out and replaced this drain pipe that's directly at the end of our property. It was flooding a little bit. The water would come down the hill because everybody's drainage comes from, down this way. We're kind of in the middle, kind of to give you an idea where we're at in the street.
Mhm.
So we all have to come out. And you can see how at the edge of our property line, it's actually kind of in the middle of their driveway. The Morris is next to us. So, I mean, even, when they come out, they have to come out to the left. So they can't, and even if they back out, I mean, usually, if anybody has any gatherings, you're usually kind of courteous, like park in between and not at the end of someone's driveway. But obviously even in this picture, there's a car there. It's not a crew cab pickup truck, but they basically give me the impression that they said, well, you can't drive. And they stand out there and harass me at the end of my driveway.
Heather, on a 30-day period, how many times do you have this issue?
At least 2 to 5 times. It was for a while, so I really started throwing a fit about it, which I'd really rather not do that.
I've got some information on this, but I'd like to go into executive session to talk about it.
Okay.
I know the cars that are being parked there all the time. The last time I was out, when she called and left a message, I went out and looked again at it. They're parking along that edge like that so much, it's starting to crush the berm of the road, edge of the, right off the edge of the road and the berm, and it's starting to push the whole thing into the ditch,
Okay.
which is gonna be a problem at some point.
I
Okay.
had to call the fire department this weekend because I had an air conditioning unit, and luckily enough, Osnaburg Township was able to get to us, and they had to get the fire truck down there, and luckily during that call, they weren't out there, but that's my big issue. We have other older residents too that still need EMS, access. It's not just because I want to go out and yell at anyone. I've never in my entire life, I moved out of East Canton and moved back, and I've never had anybody do this to me, so.
Okay.
pretty upset about it, and I mean, I don't wanna fight with anyone. I got hit in the face. They came off of their residence and hit me in the face last year. So that's another issue, and I'm sure Mr. Piro can elaborate further on that.
I've been working on it. I've talked to some different residents over there. I've
Okay.
got some other information on, but it's
Okay, Heather, do you have anything else for us?
That's my concern, just
Okay.
so making sure that I can get out. I don't know what else to do. I mean,
So, and just to clarify kind of, what we do and how we work, we have to live by rules and not emotion. And so we may completely agree with you and we may say, we agree with you, but we have to also live by our zoning rules, our state rules. There's all kinds of things we have to live by. So we're going to take this information, we're going to talk about it. Obviously a concern for safety in the emergency vehicle realm, that's huge. You got a road blocked, obviously there's some things there. And also we have to look at the rights of all the township residents and what their rights are for the property that they've purchased, and that they try to keep and things along those lines. So thank you for coming and talking to us about this. I've got some notes. I know Mr. Piro has been working on it. And if that's all you have, we'll have Linda step up.
that's okay, she's
Okay,
pretty much everything.
fine.
Pretty
Sounds
much my
good.
concern there.
Okay, perfect.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Perfect, absolutely. We're going to move right along, and I think we'll executive session here in a minute once we get through some of these other folks. So if they need to go. Melanie?
Yeah. You go first.
Or if you guys want to talk and one person could be the spokesperson, that's completely fine.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll talk somewhat as a group,
Okay.
because we're neighbors.
That's fine. Melanie, could you just state your first, last name and your address for me, please?
Melanie Walpole, 665 Evening Star.
Perfect. And then Emily
Yeah, Emily Loban, 693 Evening Star.
and Mike.
Mike Walpole, 665 Evening Star.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So our concern is the American Sportsman's Club, particularly their track shoot that's held on Monday nights. It used to be from 6 to 9 p.m. and but then they were frequently going beyond 9 p.m. To like 10, or it's like after 10. One night I think it went close to like 11 o'clock at night, which is really late on a weeknight. And I have a 4-year-old, and it's like it'll wake him up. So I went on their website, and it's like, because it said for the track shoots organized by a man named Jim Weismar. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right. But I talked to him, and he said, yes, the guys that come to the shoot, he's like, we could probably speed things up. He said they get to talking, and it's like there'll be like big gaps of time, and then they'll like shoot later. So he's like, we can try to speed things up. And I said, okay. So that was, and then I kind of let it go like a few more times, and it's like it didn't really seem to speed up. So he said, if you want to do anything more, it's like go talk to, they have a board, it's like for the sportsman stuff. So I couldn't go to one of their board meetings. So I wrote them a letter just asking, it's like, please just try to keep your shooting time between the schedule, like 6 to 9. Just try to stay within that. And I didn't get a response to my letter, but then I did notice on their website, they changed their scheduled time from 6 p.m. to now it says 11:59 p.m. So I kind of took that as the response to me, because I didn't receive anything else. And then after that, I didn't talk to them anymore. I figured I would come and see if you could help.
Okay. How many, is it Monday nights in season, I would assume?
It's every Monday night.
It could be snowing.
Yeah,
It could be
they have-
freezing every Monday.
It's all lit up.
Okay, it's every Monday. All right. And is that the only time they have an event in that space? Other than like a
They have
birthday
other
party,
ones, but that's the one that is concerning.
When there's
Till
the
midnight.
shooting noise?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, very
Okay.
well all the time, since
Yeah.
a lot have changed. and-
Sure.
How do they shoot in the dark?
I was gonna say.
They have
What,
huge
it must have
lights.
Floodlights.
where they're
Yes.
actually shooting at.
It's all lit up.
They-
Yeah, you
all
can
the
see,
traffic
you can
would be
see
hard
it
to
pretty
see.
well from,
Yeah.
the woods is all lit up, you can see it very well from across the road.
And we've never had any problem. We've lived there,
We've been there 24 years.
yes. We knew when we moved in, there was
That's your shooting.
Yeah.
across the street and it was not a big deal. But all of a sudden, it's like
Sure.
Yeah, this is the shooting range.
12 o'clock
We are-
So they probably expanded. The one here
This is
on,
Emily's house,
Maple-
we're over here.
Yeah.
Well, this is Emily's,
Yeah, 172 is the yellow, yeah,
And that's them back there.
yeah, okay.
I mean, you know, if you guys are familiar with the gun club, they have all the, big metal back barriers, and so they're shooting some big guns.
Right. Some loud
It
bangs.
definitely keeps you awake, and there is no peace on Saturday and Sundays.
We have a big hill behind us, so
Yeah,
it reverberates
Yeah.
really well.
we know there's no noise ordinance in township,
I will tell you, the one off of 44 down here,
in Mapleton.
Mapleton.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
where the Stark County Sheriff comes down and they train there, and then they shoot. And they sometimes shoot in the evening, sometimes during the day, they shoot at different times for
Yeah.
training purposes. So,
Yeah, we understand all that, it's just.
Yeah, they
So-
were shooting today during the day. It's not a big deal.
yeah,
It's the,
It's getting, I understand.
right.
so it's a
Um,
weeknight.
yeah,
Yes.
It's just getting to be.
And is that why it's more of a
24/7.
concern? Because it's a weeknight, not the weekend.
Yeah, because it's a weeknight and because it's so late. It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's and you guys can probably educate me because I don't know. It's a board-led organization. Is it a
It's a
nonprofit? Is
It's
it a
a
Yeah,
nonprofit?
it's a nonprofit.
Okay, all right, it is a nonprofit, all right. Got it.
So.
So the property's held by the nonprofit then, and there's a
Yeah.
board that governs it. Okay,
The only thing, and I'll reiterate what Mr. Berry said, was that people think that we control lots of stuff and we don't. Can only do what the law says, which is the Ohio Revised Code. We can only operate within that revised code.
Right.
Now, it's not to say that we can't send a letter and say, hey, it may be neighborly for you to try, and we can do those things, but legally we can't force a lot of things that people think we can. So we can talk about what we might be able to do there.
Mhm.
But legally, I can tell you, we have no authority to tell them they can't shoot. They own the property. There is no law that says that we can control what they're doing there.
Has there been any talk about the township having a noise ordinance?
We have not done that because you have to think we are a rural township. And look, you have all these farmers that go out and they'll plow till midnight, 2, 3, 4 in the morning if the weather's right. And that's pretty loud when that goes on with different
Oh,
things.
yeah.
So who's going to pick and choose? Well, we'll take that, but we won't take you shooting,
Where the dog runs till midnight.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Okay.
but we'll see. I mean, you have a valid complaint, especially if you're trying to put kids to sleep.
That's LLC.
We'll talk about it and see what we think. we can help.
Help if we ask.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
Yeah, we don't have a problem with it. We've lived across it for so long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, it's
But then,
getting
yeah,
I
then it
understand.
just got
Yeah.
a little much.
stretchy. Mhm. Emily, so once you wrote the letter, there was not a response?
No, there's not a response.
Okay, other than,
Other than
Changing the
they
website.
changed their time later, yeah.
yeah.
okay. All right, thank you. Is there anything else the three of you would like to share? Okay, I think we'll discuss both of these situations we're talking about here in executive session this evening. And thank you for coming and presenting these concerns. We, as the three trustees, we're going to do everything we can to try to do, like we said, do what we can in our governing law. But thank you for your concern. And we appreciate that both of these concerns tonight is causing concern in your family. So if you guys don't have anything else, you do not have to stay for the meeting. Not that it's super exciting. But, if you want to, you can. If you need to go, that's completely fine. Would you guys like the executive session now, or do you want to wait? We'll do it at the end.
Yeah. we'll go on.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you,
I can do the sheet. Thank you, guys.
thank you.
I gotta get a copy.
All right. Trustee Varian moves to enter into executive session at 7:47. Let me find the right one here. I apologize. Can it be this one? Negotiate public concern, salary management. We'll move into executive session for number 5, matters required to be kept confidential. This pertains to matters that are required to be kept confidential by federal law and rules of the state statutes.
At what time?
Could we, at 7:47. Can I get a second?
Griffith seconds.
All those in favor? Aye.
Roll call, Kuro,
Yes.
Griffith,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes,
who goes on in there?
just the three of us?
Yeah.
Yep, all right, so make it happen.
Hey, Brenda's working a lot, pretty good. Back on, I still gotta turn on the recorder.
Well,
Okay, all right. Trustee Barry moves to come back out of executive session at 8:03.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have you roll call that way?
Yeah, roll call, Piero,
Yes.
Griffith,
Yes.
and Barry.
Yes. All right. So in the matter of the gun club, we're looking into some more possibilities there. We're going to talk to a couple folks before we write a letter, but we possibly will write a letter just encouraging maybe weeknight shoots to finish up a little bit earlier. The other concern with Holland Avenue, we do understand that road is quite narrow, and for emergency vehicles and other things as well. Obviously, Heather and her mom Linda were here tonight explaining their concern. We had talked about, and we need to talk to Stu and see if he thinks it might be a possibility. I know we can't put speed limit signs up and some things like that because that's out of our realm. Do you think it's possible to put up a sign that encourages not blocking driveways?
well,
I mean, is that
or
something?
no parking along the edge
Well,
of
we
the
don't want to
road.
do the no
You can't-
parking.
You have to go through a bunch of studies to do that.
No
Yeah,
parking?
but I think if you talk to the engineers, we can probably put up a sign that says, do not block driveways.
More of a kind of a courtesy suggestion. Would you mind looking into that for us?
Yeah, we don't want to do no parking.
Maybe a phone call to.
Just can we
Back
put
out
up a,
and-
Yeah.
a sign that says, do not block
On
driveways.
and you could explain on a dead end road with a fairly narrow path. Thinking about maybe putting something like that. So
Trustee, just a question from my standpoint. You know how like when snow bans, you have vehicles that are parked on the road and then you give them the letters and warning. Are we saying that you're allowed to park on the roadways then?
We're not saying you are or you're not. I don't think at this point, we don't have a regulation on
Yeah, I
that.
don't think you.
That's what I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because like,
it's a good question.
if those people were parking there, you know, and understandable, if the guy's got to plow snow, we would go up and give them a snow ban letter and say, you know, you got so much time to get out of here, you know, until the snow ban is over. But I didn't know if that had any bearing on that.
Stu, if you don't mind looking into that for us, if you don't mind, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, moving along. Fire report.
I don't know what order you want to go in, but.
Let's do ambulance quotes at the end.
At the end, okay. So our vehicles are going in for PMs here. This week and next week, they're scheduled for PMs, so oil changes and such things. The one thing that we do want to look at, 41 is going to RVs just for its PM. And we would like to put valve extenders on. So we're having some issues checking the tire pressure, and we've had a couple of issues where like one of them has been super low and no one knew because we simply
You can't check it.
them.
Okay.
So one of the things we would like is for them to put valve stem extenders on, specifically like the inner jewels and stuff. So that our members have the ability to check them. Because even just the other day, somebody had said one was low, and I went out to try and check it, and I was like, damn.
How do you keep it?
I was like, I can't even. He's like, well.
Okay.
So we would like to have them do that when it goes for PM. I think it's going either this week or next week, but all our vehicles are getting PMs. Our gas monitor, so our 4 gas monitor is going to need a new sensor. It is at its end of life, and the quote for that is
What's the blue bags?
So those are our first in bags for our squad. So each bag has a backpack we take into every house.
Okay.
So when we quoted this out, the sensor that we need to replace is $264, but we also priced in basically a 1 gas CO monitor to go on each bag. That has become something that several other departments have started to do basically. So we're taking it in with us. That way we go into a house and they're like complaining of nausea, headache, like we legitimately have no way to know if CO is what is going on. So that would allow us, if we walked in, the sensor on the bag would go off. We have them down at Quad now. A lot of other departments have headed that direction to have just that 1 gas monitor. So it's not a 4 gas. Those monitors are $99 a piece. So the quote for the sensor and those 2 monitors to all come from the same place is this $463.98.
What is the name of the place?
It is industrial safety products. I am, however, also getting a quote for that sensor. I had a vendor come in today, and he said he can also get me a quote on that sensor. He does not, however, have those little 1-gas monitors. He is the company that sold us our 4-gas monitor. So he is gonna get me that number
So
Monday.
just to clarify, you've got your backpack on, you're walking into a house, the CO sensor in the backpack
Be on the outside, would go off.
detects the minute you walk in that there's CO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is
Got it.
what we do now with our 4-gas monitor, if
Yeah.
that's what we're called for. Like, we get called all the
Yes.
time because.
But you don't always.
But you don't
carry
We
it.
know.
don't take it in on every.
If we can afford that, I think I love that. I love that product, better walk in and it goes off and you say, okay, now we've solved the
And
problem.
you always take the blue bag in.
You always take the blue bag in.
Does
Okay.
everybody have one or just,
Every person,
yeah?
no.
There's just
it would
a bag
be
in every
one
squad.
For each squad, essentially.
So when you go in,
We take in the blue bag.
okay, so whether it's an EMS or fire, or is it?
No.
Just
So this would just be for EMS calls. So we
Just
take our blue
ambulance.
bag in
Just
on every
ambulance.
EMS call. Mhm.
Probably if it's burning, it might have blown up already.
Yeah, we don't,
Yeah.
we generally don't.
But-
And we would continue to take the 4-gas monitor. If somebody calls and
I
says,
didn't
my
know how many
steel
times-
monitors.
I didn't know how many times you got a call, like you had to go for possible fumes or gas. smell.
I would probably say once or twice a month we do go, because someone specifically,
say
either a
come,
smell of like natural gas or their CO monitor is going off.
But
But
then you specifically take the.
we take the
four.
4-gas monitor with us for that.
so Amy, would you like to wait for that other quote to come in or would you rather just do this?
So I guess,
We
can we approve it, and then if that
we could
other
approve
quote
it not
comes
to
in
exceed a
less,
certain
can I
amount.
do that? Like,
What else on the new?
You're saying it's $100
The two
for the
names.
seat.
for
name it.
each monitor.
That way I can
So it'd
make
be
it.
$200 for those two, and then it's
She didn't say
$264 for that
that's a safety
sensor that we need.
What was the
Is
other
there
cost?
shipping on it?
That's it. Oh, that's it for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
But if you go to a different, when I make the resolution.
Mhm.
Especially if it's a CO
I see what you're saying.
call,
I see what you're
it's
saying.
kind
If you
of
make it, if I know both ones.
dangerous for anybody
Um,
in there.
Amy, what was the company name of the rep that came today?
Fire Force.
Fire Force.
Yeah.
So we can make this motion state that industrial safety products
Or,
Fire Force if it is cheaper.
Okay.
Then we have both
Yeah.
vendors in the motion.
Okay.
So we don't have to go back
Sounds
and
good.
do that now.
Okay.
All right. Trustee Varian moves to approve $463.98 to industrial safety products, only if the Fire Force products are more money.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So you can see our call volume. I'll be honest, I was just telling the people left in the room while you guys were in executive session, between Friday night and Monday morning, we ran 10 or 11 calls, which is like insane for us. So
Because it
we've
was
been-
warm out. Everybody
I know.
was out.
Oh, I know.
Right.
There, yes, it was, all kinds of things, but, so we've been super busy, but if you look at this, we have one assist from Quad, we were already on a call and we ended up transporting anyway, so we didn't really have to have any assists. So 25 calls, 23 ALS, 1 BLS, and 1 fire. And then as we talk a little bit about some of these quotes, I just wanted to mention one other thing. We had a rep come out to give us another quote on an ambulance, and we believe that our newer power cot is, we can get a conversion kit. So we can make that cot work in a power load system for $2,440 instead of $20,000 for a new cot. So
Good
that's
savings.
kind of yeah.
Conversion to account
To
for the
make it-
four-wheel drive.
No, just
to
the
make
power
it work
cot
in the
going into
load
the,
system.
this is
So when we
outside
were
the box.
talking about
this is
yeah.
the cot into the back.
Mhm.
But isn't the whole ambulance gonna sit up higher?
It is. That won't matter as much, but our power cots are a little bit different than the load system cots. And the gentleman that came out from Braun said, well, let me look at the cots. Our older one won't convert, but our new one should convert to
Okay.
work. So we wouldn't have to buy a new cot,
Okay.
which would have been like a 20,000,
And that code's $2,000-ish.
2,400.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Can we hold on the ambulance for a minute? I got a couple more things. Dan sent an email about exit sign batteries.
Yeah.
Do we have a quote on that?
Yes.
And then while you're pulling that up, fiscal officer, refund to medical mutual on overpayment.
Yeah, those are one of the situations where we have a non-resident payment that we received,
Okay,
but another form of insurance paid to the township. So we need to reimburse that.
back to medical mutual.
Yeah, medical
Okay.
mutual, which then reimburses back to.
Trustee Varian moves to refund medical mutual for an overpayment of $339.89.
Trustee Pure second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. While you're still looking for that quote, we're gonna keep going, Amy. And
That's
then,
fine.
then I might have it too. Then and now, PO for Magic Door, the amount of $1,284 to repair the door. Trustee Varian moves to pay a then and now to Magic Door for the amount of $1,284.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna have all those doors repaired, aren't we? Oh my gosh. I know.
Like they're one at a time.
One at a
I have
time.
bad
Pop, pop,
feeling
pop.
that they're-
Okay, and then exit signs, and then we'll jump to ambulance.
Yep,
and
so the links that he sent, there was a pack of 6 was $50. And the other one for the signs is $35.
So that would be under our threshold, so he can just go ahead and
$85.
get those, is that correct, Brian? All right, so you can go ahead and get, that's under our,
Well, he had, then the emails, you want me just to order it
Yeah.
because I can order it.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you can, that would be fantastic.
great. So Ryan's gonna order those, and we're under our number. Okay, wonderful. All right, so thank you for getting that quote to retrofit that cot. That could be a huge savings.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Amy, this is all Amy. I just printed it. I didn't do any of this work. These are 2 more bids. You don't have to look through them all, but these are 2 more bids for 2 different companies for ambulances. We feel, after talking to Amy, that our first ambulance quote, it would be the best fit for us. I think that's the one that everyone likes the most in the program. That's what we've used and have found to be a good company. Both of these quotes, correct me if I'm wrong, one came in higher, one came in a little lower. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So now we have 3 legit written quotes for the ambulance. So that's great. I would say on the bad side of this is, I'm going to tell you, I have had terrible luck trying to find prices for a cabinet chassis. So I have Mr. Bowman at Charchone's in Randolph looking. I have Chris and Alliance looking, and I have Dave Ewing and Liberty Ford looking. And then I finally got a hold of the medium duty group that does these cabs and chassis. The medium duty guy finally said, I can give you no prices for 23s because I don't know them. And I can't order you a 22. And I'm like, all I need is a ballpark so we can order a chassis. So he's trying to put together for me the ballpark to be able to give me this number. And all the while we might wait a year. So it's kind of a weird time to be buying stuff like this.
And the Braun guy, so the quote that came in at $294, the Braun guy said easily 2 years. I'm telling you right now. Like if
2
you were
years.
to order it, 2 years.
And so it's because everyone around here also received
Oh, yeah.
American Rescue Act money, and they're all replacing all their stuff with new because they receive so much more than we do.
And for sure, so the Lifeline, so that first initial quote that we got, I did speak directly to him and he said, yes. So if we were to decide at some point to go ahead and order it, that price is what the price would be, even if it's a year from now or whatever. You don't owe that money, but it would not change. So just
So
make sure of that.
so
did
I
want
guess
to-
my
Lifeline.
So I guess my thought is this. Our original plan was try to buy the cabin chassis locally to give the local company some money. But Lifeline will buy the chassis for us. And I'm not having any luck at all. So I wonder, and we're now have to wait another meeting. So I'm wondering if Lifeline is who we want to use, and Lifeline's willing to buy the chassis, get it, and maybe still do a rebox if they have it, or a remount if they have it. We're not doing anything quick. It's going to be a year. So I guess in my opinion, if we want to move on this ambulance and we feel that we're getting a government bid through Lifeline anyway, let's just move on it because I'm not going to get anything different at this point.
And he did say that if he gets a remount in the interim and it is what we end up wanting, he said it won't be an issue because he won't have an issue selling the squad that we're waiting
That we have
for.
tagged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've tagged a new squad and a new chassis. If a remount comes in, he can sell the other one, doesn't matter.
Because that's what I said too. I'm like, well, if we get in line for this squad here and you get in what we want in a remount, then what? He's like, I wouldn't have an issue selling your squad at all.
Okay.
So.
And what was the estimate price on that one?
That one is
265
two,
without, that's with the cot.
yes. So
So it'd be 224-ish.
we still need the load system.
So
That'd be probably
230.
Yeah.
That's 230 if we end up getting a brand new one. If we, in the next year, we get a remount, we could save quite a bit of money.
Well, with everybody trading in, I would think we'd be able
So-
to
I
get
would think we would too.
Louisville is currently remounting one of their own. Louisville buys Braun. That's how I got that contact. And they told them 364 or 68 days or something for their remount.
Wow.
Now they're remounting their own ambulance. So
Yeah.
theirs is going, so they're gonna be short an ambulance for a year then essentially, because they're reboxing their own.
Okay. All right, so on my end, I can continue to wait for this Tyler guy to give me a bid through the local medium-duty Ford guy, and we can compare government bid, or we can tell Lifeline that we want to move on this. If we were to tell Lifeline we want to move on, how much money does he need?
I don't think any,
Okay.
but I can absolutely check on
Yeah,
that
right.
before
I mean, he's not
like-
going to charge us the entire thing. I mean, I get that.
No, I would assume something, but I mean, usually that's how you hold your place in line.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But I don't have like a.
So are you asking if we are interested in going with Lifeline then?
Yeah, I would say now that we've seen these other quotes and one's a little under and one's quite a bit over, I think, and since Amy has good experience with Lifeline and with this company, and they're willing to work with us even by saying, yes, if you tag the new one and we can do a rebox later, that's okay. I mean, he could easily say, no, if you tell me you're buying a new one, you're buying a new one. But he's willing to work with us. I think that's a great thing. And if he has some connection to a Ford dealer that I don't, I have not had luck at all. People don't call me back. Like I literally call and be like, I want to buy a brand new truck. Call me back. And you never hear from anybody. Like, we want to write you a check. Nah, I'd rather work for it when some guy that doesn't have any money. So, I mean, I guess the thought is we've done the research on this. We can either wait for a government bid, and I can by the next meeting, I can get a government bid, and we can just buy the chassis on the spec sheet we got from Lifeline, or we can tell these guys to order us a chassis and chat with them on when we're going to need.
Trustee Barron, are you saying just to go ahead and do the chassis portion of this proposal, or there's two numbers here? It says total cost trade-in. One is $211,036, and one is $259,650.
So this is with power cot. This is without power cot.
So which one are you dealing with? And then the options would come in that you're saying that if this would work.
So
I just want to know the high side and what you're going to possibly
yeah, sure.
propose.
So
I keep looking at the main ambulance. Is that the main price?
Yeah.
Is always $216.
this is a new ambulance. So if we end up doing a remount, it's going to be cheaper than that.
Mhm.
But we don't have anything in front of us yet. We've got some time.
I got one question.
Yeah.
So I've been told, and I don't know if this is true or not, that like Jackson Township and some of these other ones have completely bought whole new lines.
They did.
Have you heard any truth to
Like
that?
all new ambulances?
Yes.
No.
Not all, but
Lots
there-
of
I heard
places
they
have
bought all.
gotten.
So
new
all I'm
ambulances.
asking is,
Where are the old ones?
is there like a 3-year-old one is there any that way?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they're waiting in line to get them. They may have committed to, they want this many, but they're not getting them right
No,
now.
I'm saying is there any out there that are like 3 or 4 years old that don't even need nothing? Maybe our lettering put on the side that you could get for half.
So-
I think there are, but I think those people with the 3 and 4 year old ones are going to run them for the next year because they're waiting on their new one. So they're not going to give them to you. for the year.
Well, and there's
That
still
makes
Yeah,
sense.
but
not.
what's the price on it?
Oh, I have no idea. They don't even know
If
because
it's
they're going to run it
regular.
for a year because they can't get a new one. No one can get a new one for a year. So what
there-
I'm saying is if they have the money for a new one and say, I'm going to do all new ambulances, okay, you get it all in a year, but I got to run the ones I have. So I'll see you in a year. Does that make sense?
And then-
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
only, if it's 3, it's only 4.
Mhm.
And I don't know of anyone locally who's trading in or replacing 3 or 4 year old ambulances. I mean, it's.
It might not
it's
be, I
much
just was
older
wondering.
ones than that are getting.
The
They're getting
trade-in
traded
lines, that's it.
Well, the trade-in allowance was just, that was.
And I don't know
again,
that
we
I
have
would
no.
even take that out of there because it's gonna be a year.
It's gonna be another year. It could be worth 10 grand, it could be worth 8, it could be worth 5. We don't really know because it's gonna be so far away.
Are they dealing that?
So
into the
that
price?
number there is his estimate on it.
Yeah, that was his
I would
reduction.
not-
The 4,400 for the Ford,
So
the Ford discount
If
is
you
for
deal
sure.
with Lifeline, they're gonna get our old one, right?
Not
Only if we give
necessarily,
it,
they
only
don't
if we
have
give it to
Yeah,
them.
we're not committed.
This
to
price
that.
shows that, but we're not committed
We're not
to
But
that.
but I guess my thought, just, when you're talking trade-in, whether it's a year from now or not.
Yes.
I mean, are they gonna handle it, or we could go outside and
We
sell
can
it for?
absolutely go outside.
We can sell it. Well, we talked about a gentleman that runs a private party ambulance company. He loves Duramaxes. He's got a bunch of them. And we talked about calling him up because we get closer and saying, hey, we've got a running ambulance. And he might be interested because he likes that chassis and likes that.
So if there was an approval on the 211,038, that could drop even from where it is,
Mhm.
or it could be that price.
You're gonna
Typically
add 2,500 to that to buy the conversion for the cot that we already have. Because this is a whole new power cot and lift.
The 211 is a new box or
That's brand new.
how much off for a Reeboks?
We bought a Reeboks for 85 before I came.
It was under 100.
Yeah.
Or 45 was, and that was in 2013. So almost 10
That's
years
when I
ago.
first.
No, I know, but I mean, what is the difference between if we got a Reeboks? What's the total?
So the prices for a Reeboks from what he brought that one out,
Mhm.
and I feel like it
I
was,
feel like it was higher than I thought it was gonna be.
yeah, it was closer to like 160.
Yeah.
Because that was the point
Still
that we
50
said,
grand.
Yeah.
well, what's a new one?
I was happy with that Reeboks. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah. That one was not what we needed.
Yeah,
and
right.
So, I mean, we've
Yeah.
put, I mean, he is still looking for what we need.
Because we gotta put it on an F450 chassis.
So when we commit to them right now, they're just getting the chassis.
They're just gonna
for us,
order the chassis,
and not the box.
not the box.
Or if he's ordering it, we're not committed to take it.
Correct.
Because
So
he knows we want a Reebok.
From what, yes, correct. So from
Which is
what
what
we
we should do.
discussed,
If we can get one.
so this would put us in line for a new one. And if 6 months, he says, hey, I actually found what you're looking for, and we say, we want to buy that instead. He said he would have no issue saying, okay, then I'll sell this one to someone else.
The new box, the brand new
Correct.
box.
The one that we're in line for, the one that won't even yet exist in 6 months because we're in
Right.
line.
Right.
And I don't have any issue buying a Reeboks ambulance or remount if we can find what we're looking for. I mean, the one that we have right now, the 45, is a fantastic unit, but they're just not out there right now.
Yeah.
Like,
The unit that everybody wants to drive is the Reeboks. And the
Yes.
unit that no one wants to drive is the one we bought brand new. I mean, so we have time because of the situation we're in. Or we don't do this and we put all this in the burner and I wait and hear back from this medium duty guy in Ford and say, okay, what's your government bid price? Now, it should be the same as this. It shouldn't be different if it's government bid, right? Is that right? Is that right? Should it
Yeah.
be the same?
have
I got a
some
$9,000 difference.
Do you have a 9,000, two government bids or 9,000?
Well, they kind of play the numbers.
Yeah,
What is he supposed to get back to you here next week?
it's supposed to.
I mean, what's another week or
Yeah,
two?
I mean, I can wait here for the chassis price and
If you're spending $200,000, I just would
yeah,
make.
Trustee, just to give you peace of mind, I have to have the report in by April 30th. The deadline time cutoff is March 31st. So you guys got time right now because we're in limbo.
You don't want it before March 31st.
Yeah, you're not,
We're in
yeah,
April.
well, you can still take time to do this if you
Okay.
would like.
It's just a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Sure, it's right.
yeah.
I just look at it from the fiscal part of it is like, once the resolution is in place for whatever dollar amount you're gonna assign, I will then eventually be reporting that. Then you're talking about, well, maybe it'll be cheaper. Well, if I start taking money from a capital fund to make all this stuff fall into place,
Yeah, we're going backwards. Yeah.
it's a little
You want it
tough.
right.
Yeah, if you can get the starting one really on the money.
Close. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
so I was just gonna say, I guess I misunderstood, because I thought at last meeting you needed by the end of April to be able to allocate that money. That's why we made sure we had.
Well,
So I completely.
they can allocate any,
Okay.
any of this money, because I figured between 211 up to 250, because here's what you
Okay,
got. Anything that's going to be quoted over 250,
okay,
you got to put it out for bid.
okay,
It has to be advertised 30 days and all that stuff.
yeah.
If it's under 250,
okay.
the way the rule is that the trustees, as long as they have two good bids, they can make a decision on what they want to do.
So with going with refitting our current cot will put us back under 250.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So we won't have to go out for bid.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
On the
and
lifeline,
On the lifeline, yeah,
Yeah.
not on the
not
brawn,
LeBron.
not on the brawn. On the pen care, yes.
But I did look through the quotes, that pen care didn't have a graphics number, so you gotta add at least $4,000 to that one, because I looked
Okay.
through that quote, so.
All right, so I feel like we have some hesitation, so I want to, if it's okay, I'd like to get our quote from our local Ford dealer for the chassis. We have the spec sheet. He has the spec sheet. He's supposed to be getting numbers back. The number I get will be a 2022, and he's going to give me a percentage to add. He's going to say add 4%, add 2%. He can't even give me a 23. He's like, doesn't exist. I don't know it. I'll be making up a number. But he said, I'll get you 22, exactly what you want, 193-inch wheelbase, everything we need. And if I get that back, I'll shoot it to Brian, I'll shoot it to the trustees. And then next meeting, we hope to make a decision or at least move in that direction. All right, does that sound good? Okay. Anything else for fire? All right, moving along, cemetery.
As you all see, Ryan isn't here. I know he made a phone call to Tyler Dickerhoff on a price. I've taken down a tree at Union, that big pine tree that's up there. I know he's working on it, but I didn't hear back from Ryan. I know I did bump into Jim Beck. He did mow here at this facility over the weekend, and he told me he was trying to get all the cemeteries this week. Now, weather-wise, I don't know, but I reminded him, make sure you're in there before Mother's Day and before Memorial Day, so we don't get behind, whether he has to do 2 in 1 month of May and 1 here next week, because we got to keep up. Last year at this time, I reminded him that we were behind a little bit, and we had some phone calls and complaints, so he said he would get there, so I'll follow up with Ryan and him on that. But that's all I have to report. No funds have been turned in.
All right, road report.
All right, good evening, everybody. Trustees have read over the road report. Is there any questions you like that?
What's that big concrete thing out back? What is that thing?
What?
What's that big concrete thing out back? Is that
No
your new
idea what you're
parking
talking
space?
about.
Oh,
It's a snow fence.
snow fence, yep, heavy snow fence.
what were you talking to Miller Construction Strasser about? On
Say that
April
again, Brenda.
14th, on April 14th, you have a note, you call and talk with Miller Construction and then Strasser Construction.
Yeah.
Okay, what were we after from them?
Just checking with Miller about, back on the 14th. Let's see.
That's the salt guy, right?
Miller.
This Miller?
Yeah, this
That's
Miller.
our food.
Oh, it's
That's
this
that's
Miller.
all good.
This Miller.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't realize that's who you were talking about.
Yeah.
You had him with
And
Strasser.
Strassers, I was checking with them to, about giving a quote for micro sealing. Just to say again, to let you guys know and let Brian know, I never get to tell Brian.
Garrett,
Lowry,
Brian Garrett.
Brian Lowry, Physical Officer Lowry, that we're taking the mini back up tomorrow morning to Leppo's because it's leaking underneath.
Did you get a new quote from Andy Parker for the fire station?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I've got several quotes from him for different situations. We have, the latest one is for him to come in, which Randy was talking about, coming in and tearing out the soft spots, putting them back in, with 304 or whatever needs to be done to compact it so we could just go in over top of that and chip and seal. I mean, it looks like it's gonna probably be way too much money to be doing cement or blacktop or. And from what Randy said from talking to Waste Management, they're willing to kick in money, right? If we're
Right.
chipping and sealing.
Right.
They won't kick in for cement and stuff
We
like
haven't
that.
met with Art yet to get nailed down on the price of the chip and seal.
Okay.
And I gotta get back to solid joint waste to find out where they'd be at.
I'll be making a bunch of phone calls tomorrow.
Do you, Trustee Puro and Stu, do you have any idea when they talk about kicking in, are they gonna reimburse the vendor, or are they gonna reimburse us?
We don't know that yet until we have, he told me to get prices first and then get back with him. So he's the head guy over the whole thing.
Well, the quote here from Andy for coming in and taking out the soft spots and stuff was $2,240. That's saw cutting the problem areas, excavating the problem areas, and just supplying truck. We'll supply the trucks.
It was 10 grand, roughly to chip
Uh,
and seal last time.
What was that?
The chip and seal last time was like 10 grand. I'm sure it'll be higher. But
It was somewhere probably around that, I think. But I'm sure it's way over that now.
For the whole parking lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, everything.
Yeah.
That cement job would have been about $11,022
Just for the pad and that.
just for the pad.
Just
back
for the
there,
pad, yeah.
to cement it.
so till we get a quote from 2020, we can't.
Got it.
We're
All right, we'll wait and come back to that.
He's gonna, take out those soft spots 8 to 12 inches deep. And then backfill with 304 and possibly 1s and 2s, depending on what it looks like when he gets the soft stuff dug out. You don't really know what's underneath there.
Okay.
Or how bad, the base is underneath, so.
So, between Road Superintendent Uncrifer and Trustee Puro, give me some ballpark number what we might be talking to, say if you did commandeer Parker Excavating and Chip and Seal. Do you have any idea what that would be?
No, because Art's never called me back. I gotta get him locked down. I think he has the measurements. And he said he was gonna look into it. He's never calling me back. I will call tomorrow and try to get him to send me something.
I think there's a chance that we can get the bulk of this paid for if we go this avenue. But like I said, we just don't know because we don't have that price.
Right. I got it. He has the measurements on that fire department.
Well,
because he did it. So he's just ought to give us a new quote for, now with everything going up and let me know what that is.
Outside of that, we're guessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, trustees, just to let you know, out of the general fund, which that's where any balance will be paid till we were reimbursed.
Okay.
We only have $8,000 to play around with out of the general fund.
Okay.
We have some more that I could make work, but that's where we're at. If you're talking about chip and seal in the whole place, if you're talking about it was $10,000 last time, you don't have that unless
We have.
your company.
Well, they might directly cut the check. I don't know yet.
Well, that's the other thing I need to know.
Well, let's get numbers from Art.
Firm that up.
We'll come back to it.
But
I'll
he
call Art.
he
He
said,
find
he
out.
told me because of the soft spots and the issues with that, this would move up to the front pretty fast.
Mhm.
This isn't like a maintenance. This is more of a
Emergency.
necessary
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Huh?
Well, like,
I
like,
understand.
I just want to let you understand that, let's say that you want to approve something and they're going to say, we'll reimburse or we'll pay direct. Okay, that's fine. but you need to know that that money's gonna be a check wrote out of our account unless they're gonna pay that vendor direct, okay? Those things need to be figured out.
Right.
So that I can advise you that we have the money. I'm letting you know right now, you only have $8,000 in
Right.
there. So you gotta work your
Right.
all your stuff to make sure that happens.
Don't
All right.
turn in a $20,000 bill.
Yeah. All right, Steve, what else you have, buddy?
Truck 201, Ronnie's still looking into that. We've been having problems with that. He's got it up there yet. Said he's gonna get back on that tomorrow, looking at it. We've had, they replaced, I think it was the boost sensor on it. But it still throw codes for other stuff, and they're looking in, had a list of stuff they were looking through to try to figure out what's all going on with it.
Build oil pressure, blowing O-rings out.
Yes. So, and they thought that could be one of the problems with something else on the engine that was causing it to have high oil pressure at that point, blowing those O-rings out. Plus, I didn't know if you guys seen that or not down at the bottom. We were gonna start back on next Monday, May 2nd, to 6:30 to 2:30, going through the summer.
When are you bringing back your workers?
They'll probably be coming back here pretty soon. I mean, that grass is starting to really grow.
Yeah.
Especially with all this warmth and the rain.
Did, do you ever get, anything from the county to get on the spraying of our culverts or our guardrails?
Yep.
Okay.
We went out and
Oh, I need to look at that, Jen.
started to look around at different stuff, and Brian gathered up all the measurements that we had. We marked our one map out for him and everything, so he could email that to them. Brian, you want to say anything?
Brian Garrett did that with Stu's help, but I
Yeah.
gave a Firescape who's doing Stark County Engineers, I gave them all the measurements we had in previous years. He gave an initial quote of $867 to do the road signs and guardrails that I gave him. There was some discrepancies, like if there's a few more or less, but that amount of $867, when we did it back 2 years ago, that number was 700 and some change. So it's not that much higher.
Who did it 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's two years ago or 3
Yeah,
years ago.
about 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
it was 2 years ago.
What company?
They were out of state.
It was
Out of state
whoever
company?
did the county.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever did
Got
the county at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got that price, and then Stu and Brian would mark it out to kind of give them identifying where these guardrails, like around the bridge embankments, all the different things. They wanted some maps so they could do it as they're going through the county, because they're wanting to get ready to do this pretty darn quick. You can see the date. Well, I don't know I might have sent it to you on your computer.
I've got the date for today starting.
Yeah, it's actually today's date. They're gonna be looking at times to go out and start doing the county.
Do we need to approve this tonight?
I would ask you to do this portion of it. The part that I would say hold off for right now would be the cemeteries of both Mapleton and Indian Run. And the only reason why, I believe Jim Beck, when I talked to him the other day, he's supposed to be getting us a price, and he was far cheaper because he's already there, and he gave a rough quote of being a lot lower than what Envirescape was. Envirescape looks like the county, when Stu and I talked, they just ran rate how much better they were versus the D'Angelo brothers, whoever it was before. So I just think Envirescape would do good, but I also wanted to give Jim Beck the opportunity to at least give us a price, because he's already in our cemeteries, and he did do them at one time with him and Ryan and supervising that. His price was under that, because they have a price initially of $485 to do both Mapleton and Indian Run. And D'Angelo Brothers was like $525, but Jimmy Beck was around $280.
Right.
So
He's already there. Okay. All right, so you'd like to get this approve tonight.
I would like to get virus.
And this is what
control.
the county's using, so.
Yeah, this is for Stu for the roadside.
All right, trustee Varian moves to pay Enviroscapes $867 for the first spray application. Contract date starting 4/25 and ending 5/31.
For stop signs and guardrails.
Stop signs and guardrails.
Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Brandon, did you happen to notice that the county did come out and put up a sign for school bus there at Wood
Oh, I did
Street
not.
and Orchard View?
I'll know that way when I
Check
go.
that when you go home.
Oh, cool.
It's on this side, right when you pull up to Wood Street and
By the
Orchard View
green
there.
Orwell tank. with
When
the
you
spray
pull
paint.
out, it's on the right-hand side, and then they put a sign up on the other side of the hump coming back towards Wood Street saying intersection,
Oh,
showing the intersection
That's
sign.
I seen over the top
So
of the
they
house that
know.
sits right there. There's skid marks all over the road right there.
Well, there's kids that get picked up right there.
And so somebody come over the hill there.
But they,
that's Lydia's bus.
Yeah.
but they did put signs up
Yeah.
on both sides, you know,
Okay.
one for saying school bus and the other
I'm going
side.
that way in the morning.
Okay.
Did you happen to get a chance to go out and check? There's two different places on Westville. One where they're coming out of that driveway and they're starting to take the roadway there.
Yes, I did. And I will work on that with the Durapatcher.
Okay.
But I mean, I could fix it, but
Well, they're just
until
gonna
he
do
stops
it.
coming up out of there like that, trying to go that hard direction, coming up out of there so steep, he's gonna keep peeling that road off.
Yeah.
It's not gonna stop.
Um,
He's starting to eat it up pretty good.
Maybe we need to drop some big stone there. Did you happen to look at going down the hill where that water is starting to wash the road out? Going down towards the old 43. Where the big
Okay.
deep ditch is there.
Yes,
Remember we talked about the water starting to wash out like underneath the edge of that road there.
I'll look at it again. We're gonna be going around there. I was gonna plan on doing
We
that.
still want to lose our road.
I know. We were planning on going around this week with the big dump truck and the mini, with the big ones and twos to start getting all these different areas where the roads start getting ate out by all the rain and.
Yeah.
All right, back to the agenda. Updates on Midday Culvert.
I got to work 3 minutes. I sent it to Brian and I have to get with Mr. Storson this week to have him sign it.
What I have is a kind of combination with Trustee Pirro. He had sent that to me on Thursday, so I just got it there, but I did talk to Atarma, and there's a combination of things we need to do from the township side. Wendy at Atarma said that to bring our crews or an outside contractor such as Parker on private property, we have to deem it as this is part of our job, like it's part of the job to do it. So she kept saying over and over, she says, is this going to be part of the road department's job to maintain this private property area? I said, well, the paperwork, once it's signed, is giving us permission to be on there. Then she cited the contractor such as Amy, make sure you have documentation of all his insurance, which I know Stu worked on that for me and talked to Andy, and he will supply us with that. The document that Trustee Pirro got me, with that, Wendy had told me you need to get the prosecutor to look it over, and we have to change the wording to that document into Osnaburg Township. It's in Stark County Engineer's name right now. And she says you might want to identify a little bit, but talk to your prosecutor. So being I have all that, I will get that to the prosecutor. I didn't have a chance on Friday. I want to get that to the prosecutor just to have them write it up. I did ask Stu, and I would ask Trustee Pirro, just give me a number of how many feet we're talking going down, 140 feet, 150 feet of that projected time, because he may want something to say, how far are we going?
I will run a wheel on that.
Just to
and
give
make
me
sure
an
exactly
idea,
how many feet
so we
it is.
can cover our bases. I know Stu was working on, and I don't, Randy maybe too, it did the surveying, the engineer's office offered to survey it. I don't know if that had been done yet.
I have not been out there here in the last couple of days over the weekend at all to see if they maybe, As of Friday, they hadn't done it yet.
But our insurance will cover,
They haven't marked it out.
our insurance will cover as long as we have a clear definition of where we're going. With that agreement that you got me, Trustee Pirro, it just needs to be rewrote in our name, like our township. Right now, it says Stark County Engineers on it. It's just used as a template.
Right.
And then I want to give it to the prosecutor and then come back in front of you guys.
Well, one thing we definitely should do is, once you get that done, is that should be filed, in case
We
you
have
ever
it.
wanna use it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I looked at it. Remember the Schaefer situation where the
Right.
township went?
Yep.
And got permission. It was 15 years ago or 20 years ago that got brought back up to go down and touch that up, just in case something like that would happen here.
Yeah.
That document's already there, whoever the landowner is, that you could go in and clean that out, whatever was agreed upon. Only thing that ever worried me is if something happened, the person come back and say, well, you caused another problem or something. That's why the prosecutor will give it, but at least recommendation on it. And you three trustees can
Well, it
decide.
sounds like we're going in the right direction.
Mr. Parker said it'd roughly be about $100 a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
He told us $100 to dig up from there back up to there.
And he already gave us a quote to do those,
Yes.
Midi and.
So it'll be $1,700
Yep,
to
to
do
do that.
midi
Okay,
culvert.
great.
That's
All
digging it out.
right,
digging
once
it-
we have all that paperwork in order, we'll keep moving. Salt shed updates.
I have nothing, they've been working on, I don't know if they were out.
Well, I talked to him the other day when he dropped the envelope off. He said that he would be back this week to start pumping out any water around the footers and start backfilling.
Great. Okay.
In lifts, like he said, compacting it, especially inside the building.
Yeah, we're gonna pour
With
concrete.
304,
Yeah.
with 304. The outside of the wall there, he'll just try to reuse some of our stone that came off the top there.
Okay.
But the inside has to be used.
I had spoke to the building inspector that inspected it, the footer and all that. He said it was done very well. He
Great.
said there was more rebar in there actually than what they needed.
Oh, there was
Great.
a bunch.
Great.
So he was very pleased with how they were doing.
Is his next step backfill and then concrete the pad
His next step is backfilling, yes,
Okay.
and getting ready to pour
to pour the
the floor and the apron.
The
out
floor
front.
and the apron goes in before the hoop.
Yes.
Okay.
From the way he talked, yes.
Okay.
So
Sounds
on
good.
that
And they'll do
apron,
the floor and the apron all at the same time.
Pour it all.
on that apron, I thought we also had those two
They
pillars.
will be put in.
Oh, yeah. Let's pull it.
Yes, the two pillars, yep.
Yep. All right, good.
What was the letter he gave you? You said he gave you an envelope?
Gave you a bill.
He gave the letter, Stu gave me a letter that was sealed. And
See, I didn't know.
I opened it on Friday, I received it Thursday night and got it, and then I'll explain all what I went through with this letter, so. The letter had 3 pieces of paper on it. One was, I had problems, and I think Trustee Varian or Trustee Pirro, or both of you had a question on, a company had called us regarding the steel bill hadn't been paid. There's an unconditional waiver release and final payment. He had just paid this on April the 7th for all the steel that we had, because they had him on kind of a hold until he got it. So he stuck that in there, and then he invoiced us for the storage building. Contract amount was $163,311. Draw number 1 from drawing number 1. It said 44 by 64 span tech building system with concrete foundation and floor system per the drawings and contract. It says number 1, engineer drawings 100% complete, $4,000. Those drawings, just so you know, trustees, I do have them here on site. They were out in a box he had out there where the permit and inspector has it. So we do have those, that $4,000 where he had these drawings drawn up. And then the next thing says site excavation 80% complete, $4,160. And then the third thing on it was footer and foundation with epoxy rebar 80% complete, $60,000. The total that he's requesting and due on receipt was $68,160. I did not prepare anything because I did talk to Charlie Hall because of all the other things we do not have yet. and just wanted his input. He offered to come in if you guys want to, just to talk. He said, Brian, I know how you are about billing. He said, no, this is part of my service for what I had originally done. But he said, if the trustees have any questions. I said, well, my first question, I have a hard time giving a guy money when we have to chase him around knowing what he's going to do when he's coming back.
What was in that agreement that Charlie had made up?
The agreement says that we pay as we go, but he has to have all his stuff to us. And that agreement is pretty drawn out. I also have the agreement when Dwayne come here on December 13th telling you that this building will be done and no matter what, you don't expect any weather. He bragged it up by March 11th. In the agreement that was actually signed by Trustee Pirro and myself, the building's supposed to be up by March 18th. And just to elaborate what he has done, Miller's obligations. He's supposed to provide us with documentation on the delivery and the order by December 16th. We did receive it on December 22nd. Miller shall provide the board documentation confirming the order of the Spantex building no later than December 17th. As of today, we do not have any documentation that our roof for that has been built, other suburban stuff, but we do not have documentation. Then item 2, conditions subsequent to all the other agreements from May 26, 2021. The total contract price does not exceed $163,311. Miller shall obtain confirmation of Stark County Regional Planning approval and Stark County issued building permits no later than December 31st. This was done, but I hadn't received it as of March 7th, but I do have those 2 documents in my possession now. Miller shall complete the excavation of the footer no later than January 11th. It was done back on April, the student would help me, the 9th.
9th was done.
Miller shall install footer rebar and pour concrete flooring, weather delays except no later than January 14th. That was done
on the 11th.
Yep. Miller shall install wall rebar, form and pour concretes, weather delay exceptions no later than January 21st. That has been done. I think I got April 19th. Wrote down he completed it.
Yeah.
Because he came with a bill the next day. Miller shall complete the floor backfill no later than February 8th. The backfill has not been done yet. Miller shall install floor rebar and pour concrete floor, weather delays except no later than February 11th. None of that has been done yet.
All right, hold up a sec. Okay, obviously he's not getting any of this done. So this is what I think we need to do. We call Charlie Hall. We say, this is what's not done. You tell us as an attorney what we should have him turn in before we cut him a check.
No.
That's where we go.
And that's
we're not attorneys. We're not in
That's
this
a question
business.
I asked Charlie.
So that's our next move.
I asked him that, and he
And if
said,
Charlie says, turn in these 4 things, then he turns them in, and we cut him a check.
Charlie told me that go to the board. I'll ask you guys what you think. Yep. And that's almost word for word what Charlie said.
Yep.
He said, bring this to Dwayne's attention.
Mhm.
Say we are not in a position we'd like to feel comfortable about releasing this money. We'd like to have all the documentation we needed according to the agreement. And remember, there is all those weather delays shall be given notice to the board no later than 9 a.m. the day of the claimed weather delay, any dates not met, and for which no weather delays are stipulated, and agreed shall result in a penalty of $100 per day until the day is met. Right now, Charlie told us he's in breach of his contract. Right now, $100 a day is at $4,000 off the bill. As the fiscal officer, I'm going to stay to this agreement because Mr. Miller's bill says he's going to give us agreement. If I'm going to follow his agreement, then he needs to follow his side of that agreement when we're releasing money to him. I worry if we give him money, we might not see him for a month.
Yeah.
Or you might give him money and he's here tomorrow. I don't know. I feel very uncomfortable with it.
So do you want me to call Charlie Hall or do you want Randy to call Charlie Hall?
I would like you guys to get involved with that because,
call Charlie.
yeah, you call him because.
I don't want to do it if your name was signed on it
Yeah, I'll
originally,
call him.
Randy. I think we just call Charlie and say, okay, this is where we are. This is what's been done. What would you do? I think what Charlie's going to say is you give Mr. Miller 4 or 5 things to have him turn in.
Yeah.
You know, some of these things we don't have yet. Obviously, the ordering of the hoop building, the hoop and the mesh, the canvas, that's huge.
That's another.
If you don't have
thing.
that, you can't finish your.
That's another thing he said the other day when he dropped that envelope off. He told me that he has a semi that's supposed to be coming with the roof, ours and another roof. He's doing a job down by the Ohio River. There's going to be that one and ours on the same semi. It's going to be dropping ours off here as they go down to drop the other one off.
Okay.
Which
Just a
order?
reminder, trustee, he said that verbally,
Yeah.
it's not in documents.
Yeah, right.
And if that's true, he should have a manifest on that, if that's really true.
Right.
The other thing is, when I look at Stark County's information on the permit that's posted out there, yes, the footer was inspected prior to the footer going in on April 11th. But nothing's been inspected, and so it shows the foundation, all that stuff needs inspected before backfill goes in. When's that gonna happen? That would be a question I'd like to ask, or you trustees ask Mr. Miller with Stu,
Yeah.
because I think they need to inspect stuff before you backfill everything.
Well, if he doesn't follow the inspections, the county will make him dig it back out.
Well, that's,
Yeah, we don't want to see that happen.
I don't wanna
All
see
right,
it
so
right-
let's all agree that fiscal officer isn't writing any checks until we talk to Mr. Charlie Hall first, Mr. Miller second.
I'll call Charlie Hall and I'll call Mr. Miller.
Cool.
I just need a copy of that,
That sheet.
I need
yeah,
a copy of that sheet.
of that.
And a copy of the agreement, so I know what I'm talking about.
I have all that
What I'm doing.
information.
I'll get it after the meeting.
All right.
He
Sounds
made it
good.
sound like the other day that he was gonna be here this week, start backfilling.
Right.
Whether he's supposed to be doing that this soon, I don't know. I would, like you just
Well,
said,
and I
I would
want,
think you'd have to, inspect that before backfilling.
well, in my
make sure
opinion,
everything's
after
right.
talking to Mr. Hall, if Mr. Hall gives us a couple things and Mr. Miller abides by them and turns some things in for us,
And he
then we
said-
cut a check.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he
it's-
said about the roof, about the roof should be showing up.
Okay, anything else for the road?
Oh.
I've got quotes on trucks, but
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
I
I'm sorry. I saw that on the bottom there.
I didn't have a chance to make copies before. Well, here, I'll say. Colitis truck equipment is where the majority of them go to get the chassis out of it.
Okay.
With talking with them directly, they're 65,000. If you go through a dealership, they'll add 10,000 right on. So I've got quotes on 2 chassis, a Kenworth and a Western Star, which we think the Western Star is the way to go.
So that's your body. This is your dump body.
We got to run.
This is your dump body.
That's the equipment to outfit the chassis.
Okay, and this is, okay. So you
Yeah.
got stainless steel dump body quoted here.
I don't think we should make the decision tonight yet, but
No.
Stu, we're
I haven't
gonna
got
go
the look at
up
it yet.
to Washington Township and drive there. They have a fairly new.
Oh, they have a Western
Kenworth.
Star? They have a Kenworth, okay.
Yeah, after getting the Western Star, I haven't heard a lot of good about them.
Okay.
They're not nothing mechanically operating. It's visuals and different things like that.
I got you. Okay.
Well, Kenworth's good.
Kenworth is what is very popular right now in township in Trustee Township.
Okay. Great. I think, yeah, going and driving one, I think it's a great idea. Someone will let you drive a truck. I don't care. Go ahead, take a round block.
As far as the trucks go, they're all pretty well equipped. The motors and everything's about the same, maybe it's a state.
Okay. Is this the same type of thing that's a year away, or is it quicker?
They don't know. They might have one here by the end of the year, October.
What promoter was in that Kenworth?
You're gonna get the copy tonight. I'm not copying my You can go through, I'll give you all the specs.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you. Rooney, zoning report.
Since the last meeting, there were 2 permits issued. That first one there is for new connections on an antenna. That didn't change the footprint or height, so no fees for that. The other one was for a new storage building. Over on the nuisance side, that Indian Run, they had that truck parked right on the edge of the road. I contacted the sheriff's office, see if they could do anything about it. Hopefully they looked at some of the other stuff going on there while they were out. I haven't heard anything back from them, but when I drove by today, it was backed in away from the road a little bit more. And then while I was on the phone with them, I brought up the truck over on Lucy. Over there, 3 jurisdictions come together. So they transferred me over to Canton City, since that is now technically on Canton City side. Haven't heard anything back about that. I know they sent somebody out, but can't really do much about it, so we don't know who has it or where it came from.
Is that the one sitting on Lucy there?
Yeah.
Right where we mow?
Mhm.
We should keep a running total. I think Lucy Avenue has been on every month I've ever been elected here.
Isn't it a little
It's a
tiny
dead
street?
end.
Isn't it just a tiny little
It's
road?
dead end and it's next to Canton's.
It's a tiny little road.
It's always on.
Swallow Avenue, the garage is up. Looks like.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I drove by last week. It looked like they just finished getting it up.
Yeah, it's okay. I seen that.
Now they need to put stuff inside of it so
Yeah.
get the neighbors off their back.
Mhm. Next meeting for the commission is May 16th. So other than that, that's pretty much all I had.
You don't have any BZA scheduled then?
Haven't heard anything about anybody wanting anything yet.
I received an email from a resident that lives on Broadway, last name Weiss. She called with concern about an obscene flag that was flying in someone's front yard, 2440 Ravenna Road. Spoke to her, and she said the flag has now come down. And I said that I would bring this up in the meeting, and so I just did. I obviously explained to her that there's a freedom of speech issue we have to deal with as well. They ran into this same problem in the little town of Louisville. Mayor Pat Fallett had to deal with this same thing. Pretty obscene sign hanging right down in the downtown Main Street area, pretty close to downtown. They had to write a letter. For us in the township, that sign has gone away. The flag has come down. So until it comes back up, I think we leave that alone. So. All right, moving along. Old township business, electric update.
Trustees, I did post on the website under public notice and under the news and events regarding our electric aggregation. And I've received numerous calls, I want to say over 20 now, explaining to trustees, and they were okay, or not trustees, explaining to residents that the trustees and I have been working on this and that we're kind of at the market right now until the bidding process stabilizes. Our rep feels by the end of May, going into June, that should happen. He could come back with a price that could lock in, but he suggested just if you do absolutely nothing, you go on American Electric's supplier. And then the township did receive a letter regarding that, and that's what some of that you're going to see there. That we just received our last bill. It still says Dynity on it, but I assume the next one in May will say AEP. It'll move to AEP. Everyone seemed to really say, no, Brian, we're going to let it stay right where it is. We'll follow you through. So I'm hoping Mark comes back with something that we can get this done and locked in by June. And then I can update the posts, update anything that you trustees may have, because Mark then wants to come in here, or he'll give me the locked-in price. He suggested, and I said, Mark, I don't like doing it that way, but he suggested you ought to have a price that could be agreed upon now. I said, well, how do I know that? He says, just anything lower than what AEP is. And I said, well, I don't know if the trustees want to do that. They might want to hear what that is, because you're also talking a 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year commitment. And he said, we're probably just going to go year to year with this because you don't know what the market's going to do. And I said, yeah, but if we don't go 3 years, it could lock in and we could lose. And he says, well, we're anticipating the market will stabilize and it'll be better for our residents if we can wait. You may have all fielded some calls or heard some stuff from your end of it, but I've been, like I say, I fielded a lot of calls. And just yesterday, I had one that just said, Brian, I thought I had to change or do something. I said, no, if you don't do anything, it's there. I did receive from Mark a complete list of all the addresses. There was 690 some people on that list of everyone that is on our electric aggregation as of now. And that list, those people will automatically get put back on it when that process happens, unless they choose to not. They can do that right now if they don't. So.
Brendan, you talked to this other one you were going to call. You said somebody else that does this.
Well, there's several different ones. If we want to get another estimate to change vendors, I know the one is always down at the state convention. And the reason why I know them is because that's who Brimfield's using.
I just can't believe this is going to go down over time. That worries me. It could get worse.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can make a call up there and talk to them.
The rate was 0.055 before, correct?
Yeah, I don't have it right in front of me, but it was in the 0.0525 or 0.0555.
My dad called when he got the letter and he locked in 0.06. I don't think that sounds too bad.
And see, right now,
How long do you lock that in for?
I'm pretty sure 3 years.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
That's 1 cent.
yeah.
Well, for some reason, I couldn't get on. They were not able to. I don't know if it's because my mailing address is Waynesburg or something, but they could not get me on the program. And then I found a different vendor who locked me in a rate that was lower than the aggregation rate. And so I'd been on that rate for a long time. But I think that we should look again, if we're not locked into using the same vendor when our contract
Yeah,
expires.
we right now, our contract has expired. We will, all I have done is sign that paper back 2 months ago when this was coming up, that he was our vendor, but that's all that paper.
We can have another vendor come present to us.
I don't care if we go through him, but I think he should present to us what it is right now.
It is 6.99 is what he can get locked in. That's, 0.0699, which he says right now, AEP's better at their 0.0625. And would you say, Randy, you were at?
He was at 0.06 something.
I think it was 0.066.
Yeah, but all those numbers are okay right now, but
Yeah, right.
he's
They're not big
working
jumps.
on the price to look at long-term over
Right.
a year or 2 years.
Well,
Yeah, but I think Randy's saying we want to go ahead and lock in at a rate so it gets locked in for,
I'm just as scared he's going to come back in 60 days and it's going to be 0.08.
yeah.
Who knows with what's going on in Ukraine, what's going to happen. And,
Well, why don't I see if I can get another vendor to at least present something to us?
I don't think it hurt.
Well, here's what you're up against, Trustee Griffith. I'm not saying I believe him, but all vendors are going to be in the same boat. The market is vulnerable.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's
So-
the question. Is that the answer we're going to get back, or are they going ahead and writing 3-year current?
I'm not saying that I checked on them, but I think that's what you're going to find out right now. They're going to give you a price, but then you're going to have to make a decision. Do you want a year, 2 year, or 3 year at that price? And then all of a sudden, our guy comes back and can be lower for the 3 year. I don't know what, I think if anybody makes any moves individually, as long as they don't lock it in more than a year, then they can have the opportunity to come back. But if they find a great price, and like Randy says, if they're worried about the market and everything, and they feel, hey, I'm willing to stay here for 3 years, then they've made a decision. But I hate to advise all our residents, hey, we're going to go with this other outfit, and then come find out that we could get it half a cent cheaper when the time comes. I just know, as fiscal officer, I would say, go ahead and do all the things you said, but I would go and get Mark in here. Ask
Oh,
him to
yeah,
come
he
in.
needs to come and present.
Come in
too.
and present what's out there now, and you hear it right from him, and then ask him all those questions.
Mark is something else.
Yeah.
It hurts it all.
Yeah, I think we need to at least get another.
Have Mark
And I
Somebody
can
else come
call
in, that's
him and
fine.
get him in here.
I think we should, get Mark.
Yeah.
Because we need to answer to our residents, and it
Yeah.
sounds like you guys are all on the right track, because some people are changing, and some people
Right.
want to get, like Trustee Griffin wants to get a price from another vendor. And that might get Mark on the stick here a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna lose a customer, you might lose a customer.
Right, because
daily.
the customer's gonna start locking in somewhere else.
Right.
They're
And if
gonna
you-
jump back on.
Trustees too,
690.
remember Canton Township, Mark Schaefer, I know you guys all know him and talk to him. They're in the same boat we are right now, so they're at the same thing, so you might want to talk to your other trustees there and see what they're discussing and opportunities they got going on.
Okay.
All right, American Rescue Report due April 30th.
Yeah, I'm working on that, trustees. I know I talked to a couple of you about it. That's a nightmare of getting this report documentation ready, but I'm gonna do the best I can to have that.
Well, I want to go on record and thank you, Mr. Lowry, for all the work you've done for American Rescue. This is really part of your job. I know it's a lot of work. So thank you for all your time. I know it takes a lot of time and wading through all these emails and these portals and these login and logouts.
When they keep changing the
It's
regulations,
a lot.
so.
So thank you
I
for
know
your
in
time.
oh, thank you. The CARES Act, I don't want to say it was easier, but
It
when I
was.
first started, it seemed like it all fell into place, even though I was worried to death about it. And I know Trustee Griffith even told me that you watch, they'll extend deadlines, and they sure did.
Yeah.
I know the last email I got from our Ohio Budget Commission said, a lot of people are having the same problem as you are. That was just on Friday.
Right.
So I'm not saying they're gonna extend it, but I at least can get on there and give them what I have
At least you're not
now.
the only person in the
Yeah,
same
and just
boat.
get on there and file a simple report
Yeah.
with it, and then.
All right, I've got two things for Trustee Griffith.
Township books, I picked them up, they passed, I only have two more. I was gonna give Mary one, because it has all the zoning inspectors in here too.
That's nice.
I'll toss it to you. And then, Amy, are you wanting one?
Is that an update? on
This is
that?
the new one, but I was told you don't get one because you didn't show up at the dinner, because they expected
well, then
to
I'll
see
take
you
it.
there.
She said that I'll take it.
But I'm not gonna make the May meeting, I think you're gonna
I'll
make the May
photocopy
meeting, aren't
Yeah,
you? They'll have the books, if you
Sorry, I
grab
can't
more,
even
so
get my
Stewie
name
gets
right
one.
anyway, so.
But I think Amy probably needs one, we'll get another one for you, Stu.
Never mind, he was nice.
I got
You
my
know,
own one.
Stu, just so you know, they misspelled your last name, but I gave it to them, they confirmed it, and they sent me a confirmation back, and I see it's misspelled.
And they still misspelled it, they did not care.
They must not be looking over the confirmation.
You make sure you grab.
Yeah.
And then you
Hey.
had something on Android.
Right in the trash can.
Right.
Stu Unker.
Okay, so that's the new ones that are out.
Thank you.
Last thing at the last meeting that I attended, Scott Haas presented on this for Plain Township, but you probably seen in the paper where Ohio was awarded an opioid settlement for the state of Ohio, particularly Stark County. What I didn't like that I heard was, because Stark County, we don't think of this, but they were among the highest in the counties in the state that had the opioid problem and the number of deaths. And so the amount of money coming to Stark County is much greater than most of the other places because of that.
Wow.
And so there is a sample letter here that Plain had drafted with attorneys. So what happened in this settlement is they're in the process of forming a board. And there's no rules, just like the American Red, there's no rules that came with how to form that board. And right now it appears that it's mostly cities trying to get in there. And so when they divvy up this money, the argument that the Township Association is presenting is that 56% of all residents in Stark County live in townships, not within. I thought that was really interesting, 56%. So if we want to do a letter like this to send to this committee, because they're just still in the process of forming this board. What this letter does, it's a 12-person board, is asking for our township to have a fair representation on this board and not let certain people just appoint who they want on there. So that's really what the letter is addressing. I'll pass it around and we can decide about it next time if you want. That was just the sample that Plain had sent. But I do think that knowing that, and we have, and Amy, maybe you could speak to it more than me, but I do know that we do have an issue with drugs quite a bit in our township. And so to get some resources to help with education in the schools and different things would be great to get some money to help combat, and even at our EMS services.
I know East Campy, one of their officers has stopped up a couple times looking to see how they can start to carry Narcan.
Right,
So
and part of this money
directed
can be
them.
used to fund the Narcan,
Okay.
so that's not coming out of our budgets.
I can't give it to them, like that's the way we do our meds, but I have been able to.
But I mean,
direct
even
them
for our own,
where
Yeah.
they can get it, but yeah.
so unfortunately, yeah, there's been a lot of accidents lately that have had drugs involved in them. So if we are interested in sending in that letter, trying to, as this regions develop for Stark County, this board, to say that townships need more, we need more township representation on this board than just 2 out of the 12. Is really the point that they're making. So we can decide on that next time. If Brian wants to see that or not.
Yeah.
I only have one, so. So that's really what it is. We want to voice our concern. And if we do, I'd like to voice the concern that there's more small townships than there are large townships. So at least have one from each. We don't want to end up getting 2 large townships on there.
Yeah.
And no representation from a small township then.
All right, moving on to correspondence, grassroots clippings, should have that paperwork. Mapleton Street closure for the Stark County engineer to replace culvert.
Yeah, that's on, we received that
Mapleton
on-
Street.
Which part of Mapleton was that?
It's down, right by the Barrack Farm, right where the guy is putting the brand new, double wide in there. On Mapleton
On
Street.
your side of 44?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the county's doing it.
Right down by Rick and
The county, what's going on there, Rick, and they're gonna be working down there a lot. They're putting that culvert across right there by the old Barrack Farm. But they've got arrows. You can see the white paint with arrows and stuff all up and down both sides. I have a feeling they're gonna go in there and possibly mill those bad spots out and put blacktop back in because they're supposed to chip and seal that road this year. It said that in the meeting when we went to the dinner about
Gotcha.
Mapleton Street. So that's what they usually do when they're gonna go in there and mill
Okay.
an area out like that.
Okay.
They don't just usually throw blacktop on top because it
Right.
doesn't fix the situation.
All right, Stark County Schools, rates and premium holiday. Looks like we got something for that.
Yeah, I received that from the school. This is where our healthcare is. I put that on there so you guys can open up and read it, but they have done some changes. We usually get 2 premium holiday pays. Or I shouldn't say pays, premium discounts. They're only suggesting to do 1 this year because of the over $30 million in COVID-related claims in the last 12 months. So they want to wait till the end of the year. If there's a possibility they could put 1 back on. But normally we've been getting 2 and sometimes 3. When I budget for none, but that does throw a little monkey wrench in it because they're predicting in the medical side a 7.35% increase. If you add that increase in along with losing 1 month premium, that's about that comes out to about 14% increase in our health care. And I usually figure 15, just to let you know. It just worked out this way. But normally, with all our health care, it's around $70,000 a year. That will make it around $85,000 a year.
Wow.
Just to let you know what's going to happen here.
Okay.
And I would mention here that I don't get my health care here, but the deductibles and the co-insurance are going up. And the right to use the emergency room
It's
for
different.
non-emergency,
Yes.
you're gonna get hit with a hefty
Yep, we just,
That's
seen
okay.
that.
my wife just
I
said,
just got mine.
she said, we just got a bill.
And that is on that report too.
In the bill, in the fine print, it says, it just clearly states.
Presently,
You're
right
going
now,
to the
we get our
ER, you're
vision,
going to the ER for something important.
we get our vision outside of the Stark County group on
Part of the term was
VSP.
life threatening.
Where I work, we got a notification, like if it has to be a severely broken bone, not just a broken bone.
Oh, wow.
So there's some terms in there that are gray area.
If you're missing a limb,
If it's a cut, it has to be a severe laceration.
wow. I mean, if you're gonna hurt
This is
yourself.
also,
So breathing, if you can't breathe from
Open
COVID,
to it.
it's not
Yeah.
good enough.
The only
So
thing I
paper
wanted to
cuts
say
not
about
worth
that was that kids, if your child has a broken bone, they won't treat them they want you to go to like stat care or somewhere.
They're not gonna
or
treat
just go to
anybody.
Spectrum. Take them right to like a
Take
Spectrum.
them right to.
But I mean, maybe it's not during the
Yeah,
hours that
ortho.
they're open. But if you can't get them treated there, if you go there, they're gonna try and send you to the hospital anyway. So at certain ages, you can't even take them there.
I think it's
Pretty much you're gonna pay $175.
You're gonna pay
$100.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, aye.
aye.
All righty.
I got a gunshot. Is it bad? If I can
I have
go
a-
stack here.
and I have a hole in my body. Should I go to the ER? Go to Louisville and pound on a piece of plywood. Somebody drove through there.
Okay, so
On Easter.
Somebody drove through their window in Louisville.
Saturday, flip the lawnmower down in the pond.
Don't forget to
Was
look
it
at that
bad?
sign on the way home.
I will.